Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome to something a little bit different. Today, we're going to be designing an emote in Photoshop. At least in theory. Took me a little bit to get everything set up, and hello, Flame Tusk. We appear to have everything ready. I've got my so-called trusty tablet in front of me, so I should be able to just draw myself something. And it's a thing. Hey! I like things. Gren Games, welcome. Nixius, hello! And so, yeah, it looks like my calibration is pretty decent. Nice. Pie guy, hello. Hello. Photosheep indeed, Photosheep. Okay, so my goal is to make an emote for the channel, because now that we have 2 sponsors, that's right, we have 2 whole sponsors on YouTube, we can have an emote that can be used in the chat. And so if we make an emote for that, we could also have it over in the Discord. And if we ever get partnered on a mixer, we could have it there as well. So what we need is something that you want to emote. And then we'll look into some source materials where people have expressed that emotion previously and see if we can adapt it for something emblematic to my channel. Most likely, a duck. Yeah, that Solaire is kind of missing the arms, because Praise the Sun could be something that we emote, but I don't know if we need a duck that's praising the sun. I mean, we could theoretically have a vague duck-shaped head, have its eyes looking generally upward, have a nice bill, have some generally duck-shaped wings towards the sky. Now, that is just a rough little sketch. We will hopefully do better than that in the long run, but that's basically my process, is to get the general idea going and then make that low transparency and then draw over it and make it better. And every time you add either more details or smoother lines or something iteratively until you've got yourself a finished product, such that you start with something that's vaguely what you need and eventually end up with what you actually need. Mac, welcome back. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to get it done in 2 hours. Right, so that brings the first point regarding emotes. The moment you get to "and," you need to reevaluate whether or not that's even possible. So, in your case, you have a duck and a rapier and a sack and alchemy. That's too many things. We can do a duck. We could do a rapier, but a duck with a rapier is fairly unlikely. We've only got 32 by 32 pixels to even work with. But a duck praising the sun, maybe we could accomplish. But there are also a lot of established archetypes for emotes. So we might want to start off by branding ourselves with one of those standard emote types. So some of these standard emote types, you've got basically something where you've got your thing and you've got it saying hi. Now, granted, the arm tends to be in front of the face a bit, so it would be more like... Oh, that's a good question. Would the duck's longest feathers be on the inside? Or would the duck's longest feathers be on the outside? I think they're on the inside. So you'd have a long feather there, and then shorter feathers on down. So we'll likely need to have a reference for wings, because I'm not very good with wings at all. Like, I know if we were to draw a duck from the side, say we had a duck, and you'd have duck tail, it would go a little something like that, and like that. And so you have the longest feathers towards the center of said duck. Quick, to Google! Is this the YouTube emote? That is the plan eventually. We need potato duck. And so if... Well, I don't know, because we have our thumbs towards our bottom when we put our hands down. Ugh, so many things to think about. So yes, hi is one of the standard first emotes. An additional potential first emote would be a PogChamp, where you've got them super excited with their mouth open. Now, looking down usually makes them not seem quite as excited as looking up. And still, this seems a bit on the scared side just from the quick sketch, so we would need to do some work on it to make sure that it's super excited about what just happened. Not too much delay on YouTube? Nice. So, those are two of the primary archetypes. Things other than those tend to come later, but we could examine those as well, because you've got the typical... feels duck man. So, Feels Duckman could be okay, but we don't have enough sad things happen to need a Feels Duckman right away. You could go the other way. Well, that guy doesn't look like he feels particularly amazing, but I'd rather go for the PogChamp than the feels amazing. There's not nearly as much praising of the sun as there had been at one point, though. Okay, so other emotes. What other things do people tend to... Yeah, he did look a little terrified. I'm not entirely certain what caused that. Might have been the shape of the mouth, shape of the eyes. There are a lot of things that go into this. Okay, so let's think. There's the... Oh, there's the, not like this, where you've got wing, head, wing, like so, where something happens that you're just like, oh no! You do a not like this. Face palms are a little bit rough with the duck because you'll end up covering up a lot of the duckness with the palm. So I prefer the not like this over the actual face palm. One question, why a duck? Well, because of the Mario Maker accept my duck meme. At some point, I would like a duck wearing a monocle. But we don't need monocle duck just yet. because of the Colonel's bequest. Examine with monocle. But I don't think we need the monocle just yet. There's a lot of use for... Hey there, Sir Icarus. Yeah, Rip Duck, totally. We could do Rip Duck facing forward. Let's see. Rip Duck. We could do... Sweating Duck. Yeah, Rip Duck would happen a lot with the Dark Souls stuff. The Sweating Duck for when you're nervous. I mean, you could have Mad Duck. We're mostly looking for just a single duck at the moment. If we get a whole suite of ducks, that would be fine too. We could go for... Go for Reduck. Yeah, a Yata Duck. I don't know if we can do a Yata Duck. Potato Duck praising Potato Duck praising a duck face. Son, too many things. Too many things. One thing. Pie guy, one thing. But yes, I was saying love emotes are fairly common as well. I'm not certain it necessarily works duck-wise, again, because having too many things. But the love emote, when people, like, sponsor such that we can get more emotes, it's fairly common. Potato duck. Well, let's try to do a potato duck. So it's a little wobbly on all of the edges, but still has... Oh, that's a really terrible beak. Has a well-defined beak. And then, because it's a potato, you just make it super anime and just... Well, see, I think it might even work better if somehow we were able to draw an actual hand. Yeah, that was the worst thing ever. Containing a little duck. That would be fantastic if I could get that to work. Yeah, don't imagine a duck with hands. Imagine a hand holding a tiny, cute little duckling. With giant eyes. For an actual accepting of the duck emote. That could be good too. So long as I learn how to draw hands. Gren? Keyboard? Why? So yes, accept my duck is a fairly reasonable thing that we might be able to do. I would just need to get a lot of references for hands because I am rubbish at hands. I know you meant duck. I know, but I am here to learn. Yes, we want to have an emote, but more importantly, I want to learn how to draw better. And I want to learn to use my equipment and all sorts of fun things. Also, I need to check my latency for a second. Okay. It's as to be expected. Mixer is instant! Twitch is quick, and YouTube is a little slow. Mixer isn't working well for you, Flame Test. Oh, no. And you're here. Nice. Let's see. Actually, I will pull up an interesting reference that I know of. I don't know if that's how it's spelled. That is how it's spelled. Nice. Okay, yeah, that should be good. And then all we have to do is then possible to stream to YouTube from the PS4. I don't know if there's a way to directly do it. Okay, so let's okay, so if we open this up and move it over here. Okay, now that should work. So then we can just switch over to the desktop. And there we are! It works! Brilliant! Okay, see you when you get back, Grin. Okay, so these are examples of some of the emotes that are out there. Moto99, hello. We're here looking at emotes. And so what we have here are some of Gromfaloon's work. And you'll see there are a lot of penguin-themed ones. And then some that represent more or less the same thing. Across this, over to here, over to here. So if there were any in here that are lacking, there's a crying emote. We haven't really looked at crying just yet. Here's the not like this. Some of these I don't necessarily know the purpose of, and I really want a functional emote. You have a logo, don't know which file format is the best. Well, it depends on where you're going to use it and how many colors are in it. We do have a face palm here, but I like the newt, the not like this better. Can swap over here. We've got the standard high. We've got the text high. So most of the time I use pings, PNG files. And it's good for the vast majority of things, but some services don't appreciate it. And yes, there's an Isaac facepalm. There's a lot of Isaac things in here. So Eve blushing, you've got lol. I forgot about lol, where you put the hand up for the laugh. I like the lol. Standard high. Got rage. love. I mean, this love works pretty well with the penguin. Got cadence doing high. Yeah, we're not anywhere near being able to have multi-part emotes yet. The logo for YouTube, then yeah, ping is good. Shrug. Don't know how often we need shrug, but given how often I ask you about things and then nobody says anything, shrug might be good. Ping doesn't necessarily have to make the background transparent. You could choose a color and fill it in. A lemming! Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen a lemming. Yeah, transparent backgrounds are supposed to be a super good feature, not some sort of curse. Okay, so let's head back over into... Oh, geez. Where's my mouse? Back into Photoshop and think about what we really need. See, I'm not a huge fan of the feels good. Like, I really prefer the PogChamp over feels good or feels great, man. So if you want a PogChamp, we can go PogChamp. So what do you all think? A Dux capacitor. I'm not entirely sure how to make a flux capacitor duckish. Lull is the best. Thanks for the input, Ulrich. And then you get the pun because it's a duck. I use ping 24. But again, it's all about the nature of your image. If it's low color, low detail, you don't need 24. So like a lot of these emotes don't need ping 24. Low color, low detail. So if we're going to go with duck lull, we would need a beak going up while open. We would need the hand coming up. And then, I don't know if you do it with the eyes open or the eyes closed. Let's take a look at the reference. Generally, eyes closed, I think. Nobody's on Twitch. Why is nobody on Twitch? We could figure this out right away. So, yeah, probably eyes closed. Something like that. Now, we could go for the round eyes closed or the super anime eyes closed. Either way. Right, but if there's a red gradient to black, then yeah, that's not really gonna work. And Photoshop has crashed! Good job, Photoshop. Good job. Great. And that's where it decided to save it. Good job. And then we move it back over here, because that's where it belongs. Not exactly a gasp. It was, it's supposed to be a laugh. We should probably save. I'm gonna switch over to the desktop just in case it tries to save it somewhere it's not supposed to. I'm not sure Adobe does crash more than any program because this is the first... Pretty sure it's the first time Photoshop has ever crashed on this machine. And Ultimate Chicken Horse has crashed way more than that. Okay. So... back into Photoshop. Really? Oh, because it's not a layer, it's the background. Oops. There we go. So, since we're working on emotes, we need to do it on both white and black. Yeah, Premiere did crash for me a couple of times back in the day. Okay, so we want it to be able to work on both black and white. I do not want the gradient, I want paint. So there, and there. +1 subs, man! Awesome. Are you a secret sub person? Because if you're a secret sub person, it's not going to let you accept my duck. Think your sentence was missing some words. What's a secret sub person? You don't actually have to share your subs as a person on YouTube. And so if you keep them hidden, I don't know that you are in fact subscribed to me. I get an increase in my number, but I don't get your name. Why is auto scroll not working in chat for you? I don't know. Okay, so let's make ourselves another layer. Which one of these is shift? Is it this one? Nope. Is it this one? Might be that one. And then we... Ooh, wait, we don't want to group those together because then it'll be difficult to make them visible and invisible. Secret sub just because you have some weird subs? Whatever. Okay, so we have white back and black back. We're gonna start work on the white back for certain because we're doing black line art. So, now that we've gone through the various types of emotes, since you guys are the ones that are probably going to be using them, we should vote on which ones you think we should have. And I do still get to veto ones that I don't like. Dabbing, crying, laughing emoji. I have a feeling that I could. What about gray? If it works on white and it works on black, I'm going to be okay with gray. Okay, so since everyone is vetoing Ulrich's idea, I'm going to do a quick sketch while you're thinking. Where we've got nice... hello? Hello? Why for... Oh, right. I'm drawing white. Oops. A. Delete. Deselect. Swap the colors back. So we'll have a little something like this and like that. And little teardrops coming out on both sides. And lo and behold, it's not a duck. It's Clippy! With his little clip arms. Crying laughter emoji is the worst emoji, haha. Make the 100 emoji. I'm not making all. Oh, that 100 emoji. I don't need a 100 emoji. And Clippy is the worst dabber in the world. Just so you know. Yeah, we're not making Knuckles. I don't play Sonic games. I'm not part of the Knuckles meme. I'm not even part of the circle that does the Knuckles memes. I mean, the 100 is okay. I mean, 100 whoopity-doo. I mean, we could make that a duck. I mean... But I'm not sure we really need that. So we'll keep this idea for at some point when we actually need a 100 emote. But right now, I'm not 100%ing any games. Yes, feel free to say no to all Ugandan Knuckles everythings, Nixius. You're welcome to say no. Because I agree. Now, known mimetic infections are okay, because archetypes themselves are mimetic infections. But they need to serve a purpose that helps us. And by us, I mean me. Because PogChamp is a meme. But it serves a purpose that I might need to actually have done. Love emotes are really quite nice. I just don't know... Oops. What kind of love emote I would really need. It's 1 a.m. there. What time is it here? It is 7:11:09. Duck Kappa. I'm not certain I know how to do a Duck Kappa. Well, let me draw another circle, see if Mixer's still working for me. Still good. Duck Kappa. How do you make a duck smirk? Because I haven't been adding one of the big features that Donald and Daffy Duck have, that the majority of ducks don't have, that I think I know why was added. That when you draw a duck's bill on a real duck, it doesn't have anything serious right here. And that's really where a smirk would happen. And so when doing Donald and Daffy, you go up and around and back, such that you can have it like so. Ulrich, thank you for this super chat. Apparently it doesn't know what's going on. Oh, it's a new sponsor. Why did it think it was a super chat? Ugh. Okay, apparently I need to fix how my bot handles super chats and sponsorships. But yes, welcome, Ulrich, to the Illumination. So yes, the gold chat color is for super chats and sponsorships, and it was supposed to say, welcome, but instead it decided to say false. And within the next little while, it will probably start turning your chat green, but I'm not entirely certain when. Do a stream just me coding? It might happen someday. If you don't turn green, I might need to reset the chat. Hey, you're green! Good job, bot. Good job. You thought he said false. So did I. Like, there was something about ducks that just wasn't true. So, yes, as I was saying about Donald and Daffy Duck, when trying to draw them, they've got extra bits that aren't on your standard duck that go back. Such that they can smirk. Now, that is probably the worst bill anyone has ever drawn. And so, yeah, when trying to draw ducks with smirks, you'd probably have to go for that extra bit of weird duckbill cheek action. So Duck Kappa might be able to happen. We just need to figure out how our duck is going to have cheeks. So we've had one vote for Duck Kappa. We've had one vote for Duck PogChamp. And it could be pretty much anything that has come up on our stream. We could have a, no pottery. Like, no pottery in my kingdom. So you end up with like a vase type thing. Let's see. Vases go a little like so. And then it starts coming down, but it's shattered into a bunch of pieces. Then you get the bottom. Like so. Pie Guy, are you voting against Duck Kappa or for Duck Kappa? Rather than the first one not be Rip Duck. I'm right there with you, not going for Rip Duck right away. We don't want my defining characteristic to be me dying in a game. Me destroying all of the pottery, sure. But yeah, something more positive would be good. So going for Duck Lull. I'm not sure we need to integrate the duck into the broken pottery. This is a broken vase, so we would end up having to add more color to it and, like, add designs and whatnot. To make it actually seem like pottery. And then you add a bit of shading up in here to show that it has an inside. Gets darker as you get deeper into it. So yes, we would have to go through all the various steps to make it a worthwhile vase. But yes. And so you need shading on the outside as well to make it seem higher dimensional, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I do always have a record, even if I don't save it. Speaking of which. So even if I don't save it, it's always there. So we haven't really gotten much of an agreement. We've got 2 votes for Duck Kappa, a not like that, and a lull. And again, I don't plan on finishing it tonight. I just want to get the practice and hang out with you folk and make some progress towards having it. Because we now have 3 whole sponsors in the Illumination, and I mean, their money's going to waste if they don't get anything that they can put in chat. So, let's see. Duck lull. We need to learn how to draw duck wing. Ooh, come on now. Duck wing. So, zoop. Duck wing. We'll need open duck mouth. We need to decide if it's got that stereotypical protrusion at the end. Comes up a little bit. Little nostril. Then we decide whether or not we want to start off with the beak cheek or not. And then giant anime eyes. Or, you know, triangular anime closed eyes. Or round anime closed eyes. We also need to decide whether it's full profile or 3/4. I think 3/4 would work better. So for 3/4, we'd need to actually have the beak come forward a little bit. And go a little more like that. Still potentially have the beak cheek there. Something like that, maybe. Definitely going for kind of cartoonish. Because getting photorealistic duck in an emote is never going to happen. But from here, I would likely want to be drawing these on separate layers such that we can resize and move the wing around. Yeah, 1 emoji and an image next to the name. I'm gonna probably stick to my face, at least for a little bit, until we decide what really should go there. What drawing tablet do I have? I have a Wacom Cintiq 12WX, I think. I just reinstalled the driver, so I had to look that up. And it's old. Old. I'm surprised it still works. Honestly. That's a terrible line right there. So yeah, a little something like that. Why not a duck next to the name? Maybe. But eat your chat. What did you say? Bot didn't eat your chat. Chat never came through to me. I'm fairly certain I can, but I'm not going to say for certain because I haven't uploaded an emote to YouTube, so I don't know their policies or anything. They're not especially forthright. I'm fairly certain I would be able to go back in and change it. If I can't, that's just terrible on YouTube's part. Yeah, Mac. The stuff that came to my bot is also what came to my preview. Okay, people have had a lot of time to think. I believe it is time for an official vote. I'm going to delete what I have here. And now we need an official vote. I'm going to count down. Let's go from 15 because YouTube is going to be behind. So YouTube, when you hear the number 15, start typing. Twitch, when you hear the number 10, start typing. And Mixer, when I get down to 1. Cast your vote in chat. And we're going to start at 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. What? Sorry, didn't listen. Ulrich, I was saying cast your vote officially. You're on YouTube, so you should have done it back at 15. YouTube is being broken. What? Let me draw a circle. Oh, that's not a drawing. Zoop. Mixer. Twitch. YouTube. Brilliant! You forgot the options. Okay, so the only people who voted and knew what the options were, the YouTube chat was being broken, that's annoying, have voted for Duck Kappa. So it seems Duck Kappa is beating PogChamp, LOL, and not like this. So, by simple democracy, the only people who knew what the options were voting for the same thing, we're probably going to be going with Kappa. Unless, Mac, you want to get a vote in. And then it'll be a runoff between Kappa and LOL, and no decision will ever be made. Okay, so while thinking is happening, let's draw ourselves a nice big circle-ish type thing. About halfway. Slice. Pretty much anything we're gonna do is gonna be 3/4 this way. Okay. So we've got ourselves a basic foundation. Come on, thing. Okay, we're gonna lock that layer such that nothing ever happens to it. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna need a couple of references. So, for example, Nexi! Hello! Okay, references. Here is our good friend, Kappa. Kappa apparently faces to the right, despite this one facing to the left. So, I don't know if I want to draw him to the right or to the left because my brain was sending the duck to the left. Quite possibly because I'm right-handed, I don't know. So, do we need to have him facing to the right to be identifiable as Kappa? I don't know. We'll have to see. But 3/4 faces. Face part of the way over. Eyes are about halfway. Ooh, this is a nice reference. We'll probably want this later. We'll probably want this later when we actually want our duck facing other directions. So, original image. Capified image. Quack, quack, quack! Zyke! Thank you for accepting my duck. Yeah. You might be able to get away with mirroring it, but sometimes mirroring it makes it look strange. Kappa Ross is fairly common now. So yeah, we might need a duck Ross at some point, but not yet. Okay. So back over into our good friend Photoshop. I need to set up a shortcut, like a hotkey for that. And so we need ourselves a new layer where we're actually going to start doing some drawing. And so we need to make just a subtle smirk. Duck Ross, and then Kappa Duck Ross. Yeah, that way down the meme train. Okay, so let's see. Let's unlock that bottom layer, and we're actually going to go right about here for the mouth. And so if we're going to have some sort of duck smirk, we're going to have probably right around here. Ooh. Why does that seem very light? Huh? Guess it just is. Stupid pressure sensitivity. Doing exactly what I tell it to. Okay, have a good one, Pie Guy. Thanks for the input. Okay, so only with a slight upturn. Then we need duck cheek around. We'll need 3/4 duck nose. And then this coming out into some sort of standard beak type shape. Something vaguely like that. I'm still not entirely certain of this part of the duck. And remember, keep on memeing. We'll see what we can do. Also, there might be a bit of duck cheek showing over here as well. Beak cheek? I'm not entirely certain how to call that. And then a little bit of duck nose. Like duck nostril. Still feels a little off. As if the duck nose part should actually come down like this, I guess. And there should be something more like that on that side. Okay, so the bridge would be here, but the whole thing... It's weird. Well, I'm going a little bit for... something vaguely Daffy. So there's part of it that's not quite right. That it's too abrupt into the different pieces. That it needs to have a smoother flow. But it is really quite wide of a bill. Like, it's rather platypus in its bill width. So if we just look at regular duck, yes, the bill is more narrow. But what they did was, since they pulled the cheeks back, they pulled the front out as well. So yeah, we probably overdid it a bit. I need to use a bigger eraser. And so we could do something a little more like that. Potentially bring this down a little more as well. But we still have the problem of we need to know where this part goes and how it's shaped. Because for Daffy and Donald, it actually comes straight out. Like, it starts here and just becomes their beak. For Daffy, this curves up a bit. Donald as well, but not quite as pronounced. But we need something such that it's not quite so flat. So perhaps just, oops, just a tiny little twist upwards. How is that? It's all right. That part seems weird. Does it attach down here? That looks better. Still a little weird. But then we have... Does it go down? Does it come in? Seems okay. Okay. Now the eyes are looking straight at you because this duck is not a great liar. He wants to see whether or not you believe his lies. And so when we get the eyes in there, he's going to have to be looking right at you. She. Could be a she. Got a weird idea. Looking for pics of Daffy Duck's bill being blown off and floating midair. That, I'm sure there are several references for that. Because it was a oddly common occurrence. So... we need one slightly narrowed eye over here, one full eye over here. So let's see if I can get a decent curve going. Okay, so that's a fairly decent start for the eyes. Most of my practice with drawing has been for manga and anime types, and so those are the sorts of eyes that I have experience with. And so that tends to be the sort of eye that I draw regardless. Just want to see what it'll look like if our duck is a lady. Probably should have zoomed in on these. Ayo, Hawkins! Okay. So they're looking straight at you. Let's get another reference. Okay. I'm doing just fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a nice dark pupil. It's fine. Redrawing it isn't a problem. The line isn't necessarily for exactly where the eyes are. Sometimes it's for where the bottom is. It's really a judgment call all around. Am I using a drawing pad or a mouse? It's a Wacom tablet. Shire Gravy, hello! Hello and welcome to the stream. Okay. So now that we've got our very dark pupils, I'm actually going to start a new layer behind this for the other parts of the eye. So we're going to add a little bit more heft to the lashes in the old layer. Just such that the iris doesn't have quite as far to go. Which eye needs to be nudged and in which direction? Because I kind of like how they are. Okay, what color are the eyes of my duck? Let's find out. Green! And so, let's grab ourselves a nice shade of green. And so then, on this new layer, we draw ourselves some irises. Okay. The curve is just a little bit off. Okay. So we need to remember 6 when switching back. Let's go to 24 for the moment. Yeah, we're probably going to have to move the pupils because they're not really looking at you right now. Okay, now, the trouble is, solid color never gets the job done. And it actually looks worse in the preview than it does in Photoshop, so let's darken it a bit. In general. And whenever working with anime eyes, a single solid color is never the way to go. And so from here, we take it and we lighten it up. And we're going to grab a softer brush for the sake of adding the lighter color. And then it's also not consistent all the way through. You tend to have a bit of a halo out around here. Probably want a more saturated color through here as well. Gotta take a drive to pick up vitamin D. Okay. Shia Gravy has accepted my duck. It should be along shortly. Okay, so bigger and softer. It's still really hard. So what we're gonna do instead is find where we have a smudge tool. Because we don't want this to be well-defined color. And what is this music? This is awesome. Okay, so we add a little more light color. Then we smooth it out again. And eventually we'll have eyes we can be proud of. Now, the problem with doing it like this is now we're going to have difficulty moving the pupil. Wait, that is supposed to be locked. It's this one that we need. But then again, we could probably just move the whole thing. Because we can move this as... Oh, not that. Move this whole layer. Undo, 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 redo. Deselect this whole layer and shift it on over. Now, this is not our final product, so... we're also just working on getting some idea of what's going on. And so instead of drawing the other one, we're going to abuse Photoshop for something very quick. And there we go. Super quick. Slight smirk, looking right at you. So then, okay, we have our two eye layers. Let's group those together. We've got this face layer. Let's add a new one underneath of it for coloring the bill. Do we want a deep pumpkin orange? A light yellower orange? Because real duck beaks are way more orange, or way more yellow. But fake duck beaks tend to be very orange because the duck themselves is yellow. So we're probably going to go with a nice pumpkin-y orange. For the base, Coloring in the lines, totally my specialty. Okay, now, one thing that I have learned from painting is that sometimes when you highlight, you don't necessarily want to change the color or change the brightness so much as you want to change the color. And so by using a more yellow shade for the highlights, you don't change the brightness, but you do get some nice highlights. And then once again, just grab the smudge tool to even it out a bit. If I were painting, I'd actually use my finger for this. But for now, we do what we can with what we've got. So tell me, with everything I do, it's slightly infuriating. Practice, practice, practice. Practice and study, practice and study. And having a perfectionist streak helps too, because then you look at this and go, man, I don't really like how that turned out. How could I do it better? Okay, so we got the highlights, now we need the shadows, so we just go the other way. And I probably want a slightly smaller brush for this. So you add a bit of red in underneath. And it makes it seem darker, but it's not actually any darker, it's just a different color. And then smudgify, smudgify, smudgify. It's a very Bob Ross thing to do. Just throw down some color and then push it to where you actually want it. And Photoshop is always a wet canvas. No matter how long you take, you can push the color around. Give it nice shape, contour, and depth. Should make a bowl of gravy one day? Oh? Oh, we forgot the most important part of anime eyes. Let's add a new layer for it. Put it on top. The highlight. Because without the highlight, it's just a whole lot of nothing. Specular reflections. It doesn't like when I stay completely still when doing things. Tiny little change makes a huge difference. Yeah, there are little bulges. This is not the final product by any means. Right, people? Duck's right or our right? Because I would agree that the duck's right people might be a little big. Our right might be a little small. One other thing that tends to happen is that this area gets to be fairly dark. So we go into this layer, we go to black, and so it could end up like this. But that tends to be a bit more of a manga technique when you don't have the color to work with. Yeah, definitely need a smaller brush for this part. Something like that tends to be a bit more manga style. Whereas anime, you'd end up adding more definition to the color. Like you'd add more interest. Oh, that's as far back as it goes, eh? So let's erase this part. But you really should have a bit more darkness along the top of it. Just in general. Yeah, I am starting to agree about the duck's right eye. So we just shave it down little by little. And we don't need to get it perfect because these are not vector graphics. They're not supposed to be super duper ultra perfect. But yeah, if we come back to the green part, you tend to end up getting pools of lighter color down in the bottom. And this could be another venue for adding brightness and interest via changing the hue instead of the brightness and saturation. And so instead of just trying to use more and more green, perhaps start adding some blue. Less and less and less as you go. And then smudge it all out again. It's better. It's not quite there, but... Ooh. Am I on the wrong layer? I'm on the wrong layer! Someone saying I'm on the wrong layer? Okay, so we erase in here. We switch layer. And actually draw on the correct layer this time. Eye drop, grab, push up, and paint. Push up, less space. Push up further, even less. Push up all the way, hardly any. And then re-smudge. And then we add just the least little bit of white. There we go. Thanks, Shire Gravy. Thank you for being here. Yeah, princess, or picture is another castle. Layer, yeah. Okay. So that's a nice process for that. Let's do it to the other side as well. Again, not quite perfect, but we are making progress. This smudge is too big. That's right, my smudge is too big. That's okay. I'm gonna have to do more research into how the eye coloring really works out. Because this doesn't really feel right yet. And there's something about the way it flows that I don't quite like. Is the music pretzel? Yes, it is. It's not as good as it has been in the past. I'm not sure why. Wait a minute. That's the wrong layer. Which layer are those on? Not that one. This one. And it really doesn't like me working in small spaces. Okay. Now, to cap off the cappiness, I'm fairly certain we need to do something with its hair. Because if we check out Kappa himself, you got this little foop that comes down. And I think if we could replicate that on the duck, it might help sell it. If we just have something that flops over like that, it could be good. And so right up here somewhere... Wow, that is really strange. Because on my Photoshop, that circle is really quite small. But in the OBS preview, it's enormous! What is this? Which layer is that even in? What are you doing there? Weird. Okay, so let's make a new layer that is behind pretty much everything. What's layer 2? That's that. So it's in front of my background, but behind pretty much everything else. So what we need is some sort of floofy poof hair thing like that. So one goes over and down, the other floops back. Something like that. But being a duck, they'll have multiples. Kind of like that, I think. Zoop, and zoop. Like so. And so if we turn off layer 2, it'll look at something like that. And then we just bring the head all the way down and around. Whether or not it comes all the way down here, I don't know. We might want to narrow it a bit and just bring it to here. Make her a little bit less rotund. Yeah, but that looks weird. See how that looks. That's kind of okay. This part's a little weird. Now, her head feels a little too tall. Like, she looks a little bit like she's from Katarina. That's the wrong layer for that. So I'm thinking I might want to pull this down a little bit. this layer. That is the correct layer, right? Yeah. Ooh, that was the wrong thing. 8. Why? Why are you being stupid? There we go. Right about there, I think. Have a good one, Mac. So then we bring this up like so. Really? You're on the wrong layer? Oh, we're on 2 layers. Let's merge those layers. Yep, layers always causing trouble. But also saving trouble at the same time. Okay, and then from here we have to make the tough decision of, is this duck yellow or white? I kind of want her to be yellow. So we come down here to our good friend yellow and try to find a good one. Yellow is such a rough color. Because it's really hard to find a good, clean yellow. This, I think, is a good place to start. And the biggest problem I always have with yellow is getting a good dark yellow. Because every time I try to make a dark yellow, it turns out disgusting. And so whenever trying to make a dark yellow, you have to either go brown or orange. Going lighter tends to be fairly easy. Going darker, that's hard. And the trouble is, brown is also orange. So if we take that, we take a fairly decent size soft brush, come around the edges. That brown is a pretty decent shadow color. So we'll need that in here as well. A little bit on there, a little bit under that, a little bit under here. Hello, Ezra Abdel. Hello. And then we take our smudge tool and smudge it again. Because I love smudging. But I don't have any really good smudge theory, though. Like, I don't know if you should just go side to side, if you should follow the curves. I think I need a larger smudger. There we are. And we do it here as well. Push the yellow up into it, pull it back down. Smudge, smudge. Brilliant! Okay, and now we go back to our yellow, and then we desaturate it a bit. Right about there should be good. Still a large brush. Wow, can't even see that at all. Give our duck a shiny forehead. And we push it even further. Do it again. Should probably add a little bit up here. And then just keep going. Rainbows aren't very bright, girl. Okay. So now we have a slightly shiny duck. So what we need now is to find our bill layer right here. Where's my... Look, there's my lasso. Polygonal lasso. Take it. Ah! There we go. And so we cut. And we paste in place. on its own layer. Make a new layer. Make the previous one 50%. And do a better job of drawing it this time. And so we just... Okay, that is way too thick of a line. Too thin. Let's go for about 10, I think. Errant! Hello! Yeah, that's better. Just want one nice fluid motion. Close. There we go. Ooh, that's way worse. Perhaps having the guide underneath is making my hand less steady instead of more. How does that look? It's better. And there are pieces of software that would make this process easier by making your hand artificially steady. But I don't have that program. That one was almost good. Right until the end, it was pretty decent. And we can come back through and clean it up again after this because of things like this right here. And this right here. We can come through and clean it up a bit. We got a little bit here as well. Okay. Am I familiar with Arduino Unos? Unos. I am not, Pixel Pizza. Sorry. How does that look? Unclean. That's looking much better. Can clean up this side over here, but... Okay. And then we bring this up. And then we have this continue... There. Then we have duck nostril. Brilliant. So this is duck. No, yes. Oh, hey, we got super chats. Well, we got a sponsor, that's for certain. You've had the ability to super chat for a while. It's just hardly anyone ever did it. Let me take this up and over. Maybe draw it this way. No. This way is the way to go. Okay, and then just a little bit of a smirk. Add a little more thickness over here. I'm gonna have to go through and rework some of the thicknesses as well, the cleanness of some of the lines. But this is very good progress. You can come down here, clean up the bill a little bit. Is it possible to change your Microsoft account name? I have no idea. Never tried. So, our duck is not quite as kappa as we were hoping, and still isn't looking directly at you. Gonna have to do a few revisions on the pupils to make it look like it's really looking right at you. But for a first draft, as someone who doesn't do a whole lot of art, I think it did okay. And also we need to recall that it will be... yeah, about that big. And so it's lacking in a few details. We would need to do a little bit of refinement to get it really looking good at the appropriate size. Also, it's not using the space very well, so let's scale it a bit. Let's grab all of the layers. Ooh. That's more appropriate. And so when we zoom it all the way down, you lose the floof a bit. Yeah, Mixer likes using your Microsoft, so yeah, it's both Microsoft and Mixer. So this size, we'd have to go back in and redefine a bit of the line work, get the foof on top working, but overall, it is a duck. So let's do another save. And then image. Image size. 32 by 32. Go. And then zoom it back to 100%. And there we are. So it's actually kind of okay. Doesn't look like it's smiling. It's not supposed to be super smiling. It's supposed to be kind of Mona Lisa-esque, like Kappa, but it just doesn't quite come across. So we're gonna need to do a little bit around the eyes, right? Let me get onto the screen so you can see it. Right in here. Let's just go back to full screen. So we need to do a little bit of work right in here. Yay, makes her name. So yeah, the little bit of work right in here to move the cheek up such that it looks just that little bit more like it's smiling. Get her smile going with her eyes, and it'll work out better. So we'll need better line work up here. We'll need thicker line work down here, and then just probably the most subtle of little things right at the bottom of the eyes to make it look like she's smiling. But all in all, I'd say it's a nice 2 hours worth of work for somebody who hasn't really drawn for a while. I'd say it turned out pretty darn good. And for the first emote that I've ever tried to design. One other thing is we appear to be missing a bit of contrast between the bill and the face right in here. So I might add a little more darkness here to have a better transition. Other than that, I think it went pretty well. It is after 8:30. I am going to get going. Just wanted to get this far. I'm probably not going to upload this as is. I'll probably do a little bit more work on it before I send it into the YouTubes. But thank you all for being here. And I will see you in the next live stream or video of art or Dark Souls or who knows what with light.